We just wrapped up our 1,300-mile road trip from Austin to Los Angeles. Full video, and you can see that whole experience on what actually would happen and how many different supercharging stops that we actually stopped at. But I had to figure out, was it actually cost effective in terms of time and how much money we spent at the Tesla superchargers? So I'm gonna go through an analysis and see, like, if we were to take like a normal vehicle, maybe like a normal hybrid vehicle, how much would that cost? And maybe like a comparable luxury type of vehicle as well with a lower MPG, and see how much would that cost as well, and really compare the two. So let's head on over to my desk and we'll compare and contrast the different costs and see and answer the question, how much will you actually save, if any, and is it actually worth it taking a Tesla Model Y on a road trip? Let's get into it. So when we drove from Austin to Los Angeles, we spent $153 on supercharging. Of course, the vehicle did have a little bit of charge from delivery. I don't remember exactly what it was. Maybe it was like 50%. But either way, we still stopped at 11 superchargers, and it did take us 26 hours to actually do this. I did the math, or I went on Google Maps and actually saw that if you didn't stop at all, with no gas stops even, it would take you about 20 to 21 hours. So it did add like an extra 5 hours, but some could argue that you're gonna be stopping anyways to get food like we did, go to the bathroom, maybe even take naps, because we did do it in a straight shot. So 11 stops at the Tesla supercharger isn't necessarily that bad, but we did spend a total of $153.11 on Tesla supercharging costs. And so now the question is, if we were to drive this, and I'm going to take two vehicles to compare this to, if we were to drive this in like a hybrid vehicle, how much would you stop? But of course you would certainly, how much would you pay for gas? But you certainly would stop, but maybe not 5 hours of stops unless you're staying at a hotel. And then also, like, what if you did this in like a luxury vehicle that wasn't a hybrid? What's the gas mileage on that, and how many times would you stop, and things like that. And so the first example I think is a great one, I love my Toyotas as well, is like a RAV4 hybrid. Maybe even some would say it's a little bit more comfortable than the Model Y. Maybe not this Model Y, but maybe the older one. And so if we were to drive 1,400 miles in the RAV4, that same distance in the RAV4 on highway gets 38 miles per gallon, taking the average cost of gallon in Texas and California. Texas is like 2.7 and California is like 4.45 cents per gallon. That means a total amount paid on gas, imagining some of the stops through all the different things, because you only have to stop once, which is pretty crazy, would be $131.94. So at best case scenario, you're saving 3 to 4 hours driving in a RAV4 hybrid and saving about $20 to $30 as well. So depending on how you value your time or your money, then that could be a big difference. But one big thing with that is that, of course, the RAV4 doesn't have as good of a system as autopilot or full self-driving. So there is something to be said there about kind of relaxing while you're driving versus the RAV4, like paying attention more so than autopilot full self-driving. And so that number doesn't necessarily surprise me, but I guess it depends on how you value certain things. The RAV4 hybrid might be a better use case because you don't have to stop for an extra 3 to 4 hours unless you're going to be stopping at certain routes along the way anyways. The next one is, let's say we take a BMW X3. You know, we also love our BMWs. We've had plenty of BMWs in the past, all leased and everything. I love my M cards and everything. But what if we took like a BMW X3, which in this example, for some reason, it said a 2021 X3 would be comparable to the Model Y, and that gets 27 miles per gallon. Not sure if the new one gets a little bit more. I imagine it does, but you also have to factor in premium gas as well. But I think for both of them maybe. But either way, let's take this rough math. If we do the same cost per gallon in Texas and California, you most likely will only have to stop at least once as well. If you're leaving with a full tank from Austin, fueling once, and then arriving probably in California to fuel up again, so maybe actually like 2 to 3 stops between the both of them. But your cost would give or take be even more than the Toyota, of course, because of premium gas and everything. And I'm using rough math here, but $185 would be what you're looking at. But of course, take these numbers with a grain of salt and maybe do your own calculations if you want to. But it's good to see that Tesla supercharging is probably right in line. It's not like grossly out of line in terms of cost. You could still save money by going with a hybrid, and also you'll definitely save time either way with both of those different options. But maybe that time saved could be recouped with full self-driving and autopilot. But let us know what your thoughts on it. Let us know what you're thinking. Comment down below in the description if you've done a similar road trip and what was your math on on that road trip, and would you do it again with a Tesla vehicle? I would say, having done this twice now, the Model Y was way easier because it had full self-driving and autopilot, and I would actually think about doing it again if I had full self-driving only. We've done plenty of road trips like LA to San Francisco, LA to Vegas, LA to Arizona, and that is like actually way more of a breeze once you have autopilot and full self-driving.